Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to have you and I'm so glad you clicked on. Today we are going to be going over, my July wrap up. This is definitely late. I had actually already filmed this and then went to go edit it and there was like 4 books that were just like not taped. So I'm assuming there's like some sort of camera issue. However, I am going to film this today and hopefully get it up for you guys. It's gonna be fun because I have quite a few books to go through. I read a total of 21 books in the month of July, which is definitely a personal record for me. I don't know what happened or why I was reading so much and so fast, but I went through so many books and I found some really great ones. I found some ones that I didn't enjoy very much, and I definitely have some new authors that I would like to pick up more books by. So that's very exciting. We're gonna go through these in no order because I don't even remember what the first book or the last book that I read. Actually, maybe I do. Maybe I do remember. However, it doesn't matter. So I'm just gonna be pulling from this stack of books that are in front of me. We're gonna do this a little bit fast just because 21 books is a lot. I can't yap about every single one, so I'm gonna try and give you guys a little bit of a summary of each book and a little bit of my opinions. With that all being said, let's go ahead and jump in to all of the books that I read in July. Alright, first things first, the one that's literally on the top of the pile we're going to talk about is Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. I gave this a 2 stars. I didn't enjoy this one. I normally do really enjoy Lynn Painter. I have liked all of her books, but this one to me just felt very rushed, very immature, and very repetitive. This is basically following the female main character. She is about to get married and she doesn't want to because her fiance cheated on her, but something with like her family and his family, like something's like connected, so she didn't want to just end the marriage and risk something happening with her family's business or whatever. So she hires this man to come and object the wedding and basically like show everybody that he cheated on her. So that's how this starts out, and then at some point he reaches out to her or she reaches out to him and they start to do this together, the wedding objector thing together, and I honestly just didn't love it. I didn't like the characters. I didn't find that their chemistry was very enthralling. I also found that the FMC was pretty annoying, especially with how she felt about the MMC. She liked him, but she like didn't want to do anything except for the deed with him. So didn't love this, gave it 2 stars, wouldn't recommend picking it up. I think that this would be a skip for me if you want any Lynn Painter books. I would not recommend this one. Then, the next book that I'm going to be talking about is Of Jade and Dragons. This is the Illumicrate Special Edition copy. I actually did really enjoy this. I thought it was fun. I did give it a 3, I believe. I don't know if I'm going to continue with the series, but the idea of this was fun. I don't know if I feel like it needed to be a series. This could have just been a standalone fantasy. But essentially this is following I honestly don't remember any of these characters' names unless I've like liked the book or have a lot to say about it, so forget the names of some of these characters. But the FMC finds her father dead, well, murdered, about to be dead, and she is obviously distraught, and she disguises herself as a man to get into this engineers guild to find out who wanted to kill her father and why. So you're basically following that journey. There's also a little bit of a romance in here. I will say that there's not a ton of fantasy. There is dragons at some point, but however, I don't think that the fantasy element was really important to the story. I feel like this was more of like a mystery and a romance than a like fantasy book, maybe a little bit of dystopian. However, it was entertaining. It kind of gave Mulan vibes at the beginning. Sorry if the lighting is changing. There's nothing I can do. But I'm with it, and I would rate it 3 stars. I would recommend it too. I just don't think that it's worth a series, maybe? I don't know. Maybe I missed something, but this edition is stunning. The hardback is beautiful. And then the sprayed edges are also stunning. So very happy that I did actually read this book. And then the next one that I have in front of me is actually Reckless by Lauren Roberts. I rated this a 3 stars. I was definitely disappointed by this book, as I have seen many other people have been. I just think that there was so much more that she could have done with the story that she didn't. I feel like there was actually literally no plot in this. I think it was supposed to be a cat and mouse kind of game, but it didn't work for me. I don't know if, like, maybe it's just a me problem, but there was also, like, zero fantasy in this book. Like, there were barely any powers being used. It was really just a romance story, which would be fine. However, I like Kai and Peyton together. I just, like, wanted something more to happen, especially because the end of Powerless was so crazy. I was hoping that there would be a little bit more in this story. If you haven't read Powerless, this is the second book to Powerless after the novella, and I still like the novella the best in this series, honestly. I didn't like this much. I think the only reason I got a 3 is because, again, the ending was crazy in this one, and it definitely led up to a good, like, third book. However, I think that this one could have been better, for sure. Following up with that, I have Serpent and Dove, which I actually did really enjoy. I rated this a 4 stars, and I am definitely planning on continuing the series as soon as the second book comes in the mail. I had so much fun with this. It is about a witch and a witch hunter. There is a forced marriage, there's forced proximity, and then there's, like, enemies to lovers, and it worked so well in this book, and I'm very, very excited to continue this series. I don't want to say too much about the plot, but definitely pick this up if you're wanting a little, like, witch romance, paranormal, maybe a little bit of a marriage. I don't know. And he became very protective of her, and the end was actually crazy. I really, really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4 stars again. I highly recommend picking this up. I am going to be reading the sequel probably next week. Then, next up, we have Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. The only reason I am reading the Kingdom of the Wicked series, okay, yep, for sure. But anyways, the only reason I'm reading this trilogy is because I would love to get to the Throne of the Fallen series, which is more new adult or just adult. I know it has more spice and more romance. This story was good. It follows a twin sister. Her other sister passes away. She is murdered. Amelia goes on this journey to basically find out who killed her, why they killed her, and she gets swept up in all of this, like, paranormal kings of sin. I think that's what they are. There's, like, 7 princes. Very entertaining. I think I gave this a 3.5 stars. I did enjoy it. I do think that it was very little on the romance, and I thought that there was going to be more, so I feel like that was a little bit hard for me to get. I think that continuing on with the series, the romance will maybe become more prominent. But I did enjoy it, and I am excited to continue this series as well. I think I also have the second book coming soon, but yeah, this was fun. I liked Wrath. I think his character was really cool, so hopefully that we get a little bit more of him in the second book. I didn't feel like we got enough of him in this one, so that is my hopes. Next book that I read was Elliott's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and I'm not going to say too much about this because I personally did not enjoy it. I gave it a 2 stars, and the only reason I didn't enjoy it is because I don't think that this genre is for me. It's a cozy mystery, and it just, like, it was boring for me. Unfortunately, I do think that this is a book that a lot of people would like, so definitely take my opinion with a grain of salt, because I know that this is a pretty popular book. It's definitely giving whimsical, mystery, cozy, fantasy. Writing was good. I had no issue with the writing. I felt like it was good writing. I was just a bit bored. The storytelling is also really good. It is really just the genre for me. I don't think I'll be picking up another cozy mystery, unfortunately. Next, I actually had so much fun with this next read. I read House of Salt and Sorrows. This is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, and I genuinely had such a great time with this. I was picturing the Barbie 12 Dancing Princesses movie, so if you've ever watched that, definitely pick this up. It has more of a gothic mystery. There's murders, there's a romance. There was like a lot in here, but it was done so well. So the end was crazy. I really, really enjoyed this, and it's also, like, kind of like the ambiance was set really well. All right, and then next, I'm debating on changing my ratings for the next 2 books that I'm going to talk about to maybe potentially 4.5 or 5 stars. I read The Unmaking of Junipero, and I really, 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 really enjoyed this book. I have been thinking about it randomly, like, for no reason, And this was so beautiful. It was such a stunning story. I loved the writing. I'm very excited to pick up more books by this author. And if you liked The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, I would definitely recommend picking this up. It kind of gives those same vibes. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like a beautifully written story. And it's a story of her life. So June Farah is obviously the main character. It is following her. There's a little bit of a mystery element. There is literary fiction. There is women's fiction. There's also a really good romance in here. And it was just really fun. There's a bit of like a time travel, time warp type of thing going on. So this was a lot of fun. I think I actually originally gave it a 4 stars, but I've been thinking about it a lot. So I think I'm going to bump it up to a 4.5. Absolutely loved this. And then the next book that I think I might change to a 5 stars is actually Wayward by Amelia Hart. I really, really enjoyed this story. It follows 3 women over different centuries, and they're basically wow, I'm literally losing my voice. They're all wayward women and have some sort of connection to nature, and it was just a stunning story to read. This is definitely a woman's fiction. There is harder topics in this book, so definitely check trigger warnings. It is not an easy read, but it is a great one. I would highly recommend everybody pick this up. I know I think it was the Book of the Month finalist for Book of the Year finalist for Book of the Month. I'm so mad that I waited this long to pick it up. I'm so excited to pick up more books by this author. Her writing was incredible. Definitely going to change this to a 5 stars. I really, really, really enjoyed it, and honestly, it's a beautiful book. Highly recommend picking it up. I don't want to say too much about it because I went into it honestly completely blind, and the nature aspects, the women in it, the storylines, the way it was told, it was just a beautiful story. So if you pick up anything, definitely pick this book up. Absolutely loved it. We're changing it to a 5 stars. And then on a little bit of a sadder note, I read Hello Stranger by Catherine Center and rated this a 2 stars. I could not get past how delusional the female main character is. I really couldn't. It was giving immature and also like so out of touch with reality, where I was like, okay, I literally cannot relate with you. But however, people love this book, so I wouldn't not recommend it. I just don't think it was something that I enjoyed. I really don't want to talk about this one too much. It's a romance. She has face blindness from an accident that happens, and she's trying to work through that. She is a portrait artist, so obviously having face blindness makes that extremely hard. So she's trying to get past that, but she's also kind of kindling up a romance with her neighbor dude. But she also has a like delusional weird thing with her dog's vet. So take with that what you will. I gave it a 2 stars. And I usually love Catherine Center, so I wouldn't recommend this one, but I would recommend her other books, The Bodyguard and the Rom-Commers. The next book that we're going to talk about is Secluded Cabin Sleeps 6. This one was actually really interesting at the start. I wasn't liking this because there was so much information dumping, but it definitely came all together at the end. It made sense, so I gave this a 3.5 as a solid rating. It was a pretty interesting book. It was definitely creepy. The vibes that were set were really, really good. It definitely went with the ambiance. It's a secluded cabin in the middle of nowhere. There's murdering. There's secrets, there's affairs, there's lies. It's basically 6 people, 3 couples. Maybe read this in the winter. I think it'd be a better fit in the winter. It's not like a super summery thriller. Would definitely recommend for the winter time though, if you're curled up on the couch. All right, continuing on, we have Watching You by Lisa Jewell. I have found that Lisa Jewell just is not an author for me. I have only liked None of This Is True. I've read 3 of her books now. And this one was boring to me. It was boring and it was long, and I didn't enjoy it. It's basically following this female main character and the neighbors in her neighborhood. There was a murder and they're trying to find out who did it, and they're suspecting the female main character in this book. So there's like police interviews, there's backstories, there's then and now. Sorry, Woody. And it just like wasn't hitting for me. It was also pretty predictable, and the ending was very underwhelming. I feel like there could have been something else done that would have made it a little bit better, but yeah, gave this a 2 stars. Didn't love, wouldn't recommend. Following on that same note of not recommending, Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. I am struggling with Riley Sager. I am. Unfortunately, I've only liked The Only One Left by him. And I think I'm finding the reason I don't like his books is because I do not like the way that he writes his female main characters. I think he makes them kind of stupid and really frustrating. So that being said, I didn't like this, but the premise of it sounded really cool. She gets hired to basically apartment sit and just live in an apartment, and she gets paid for it. So obviously there's a little bit of like, okay girl, you're getting paid that much money to stay in that apartment. There has to be something wrong. So it is creepy. There's creepy vibes. The end was what made it interesting. I did end up giving this a 2.5, literally because of the end. It did go pretty crazy. But yeah, I just was also bored with this one. Not my favorite. We have The Love of My Life by Rosie Walsh. I did not like this. I gave it a 1.5 stars. I read it with my sister for book club, and both of us did not enjoy this book. However, there are people that do like it. So again, if I ever give a book a bad rating, still read it, because this just like wasn't for me. I think it was marketed wrong. It is marketed as a thriller, but I don't think any part of this was thrilling. It also was like very barely mysterious. I think that the mystery was more of like just a big lie than like an actual mystery. I don't know. It was just not good. There was like many plot holes with this story. The ending was boring. I just didn't enjoy it. 1.5. Again, other people like this. It's Good Morning America's book club pick. Next we have Funny Feelings, and this was cute. I gave it a 3 stars. I didn't love this. I didn't like the female main character very much. She had redeeming qualities. However, I don't think that she was mature enough to be in this type of relationship. The MMC definitely had good qualities. He had great potential. She's also a comedian, and he is her manager. So it's a little bit of a workplace romance. It is supposed to be comedic, however, I did not think it was funny. I did not like her jokes at all. They seemed very immature, and they just weren't funny. And I think if we took that aspect out, I probably would have liked this book more, which is so unfortunate, because it's just like such a minor thing, but it like kind of was the whole book. So that is why I didn't love this. I think that they could have had better chemistry if it was written differently. This is kind of like in the then and now timeline, which is a really interesting way to like tell like a silly little romance like this. I also felt like there was no like build up to their relationship. It was just like an immediate like. Next we have 5 books left. I have Off to the Races by Elsie Silver. I really did enjoy this. This was fun. I think I gave it a 3.5. It is another workplace type of romance. He hires her to train a horse. It is small town, kind of cowboy-esque. And it was just really fun. I think that this was a great book for a start of a series. We met pretty much, I think, all of the characters in this book. So I'm very excited for the second one. I think that it's going to be a fun series. This one's probably not going to be my favorite one of this whole Gold Rush Ranch? Yeah. I don't think this one's going to be my favorite. I think the next one in the book, Photo Finish, might be my favorite. But yeah, read this, 3.5. I liked the characters, but it wasn't anything remarkable. It was still a good time, though. I read it in one sitting in like 4 hours, so. I don't know when this camera's gonna die, and I fear I'm gonna have to charge it and then keep filming, which is so upsetting. But anywho, the next thing that we have to talk about is The Family Game by Catherine Steadman. This was fun. Quick little sum up, I gave this a 3 stars. It was fun, it was entertaining, definitely kept me on my toes. Has a lot of family drama, marriage drama, lots of twists and turns, and the ending was a bit crazy. I would also recommend reading this in the winter/fall time for the little creepy vibes, because it definitely has a good ambiance. And it definitely, oh god, it has a lot of unreliable characters in it. It's really interesting. So I had a fun time with this, read it in one sitting. Next I have The Resort. This I would recommend reading in the summer, because this is based in an island, totally like kind of off the grid. This female main character goes to this island to escape her past and her life in the States. And then there's some other point of views and girls, and it's a whole thing. But basically they're on this island and it's getting pretty creepy. There's been a murder. There's a lot of like weird things going on, lots of twists and turns. The female main character is getting a little bit creeped out. So it's very interesting, very captivating, kept me on my toes. I did rate this one also a 3 stars. Well, maybe a 3.5. I liked the ending, although there were some questions I had, so maybe it didn't wrap up nicely. Next, we're going to talk about one of my favorite books ever, Summer Romance. I read this and I absolutely devoured it. It was amazing. The writing of this book was beautiful. The characters were stunning. I absolutely loved the romance. I loved that this was more than just a romance. This was done beautifully. It follows the female main character. She is a mother of 2. She just went through a divorce. She also recently lost her mother, so there is grief in this book. There is divorce. There is a single mom literally trying to just figure out how she's going to keep going and trying to get past the loss of her mother, who was one of her best friends. There's also amazing side characters in here. I cried for 45 minutes after I finished this book. It was so beautiful. The romance between the female main character and the male main character was done beautifully. I absolutely loved their communication and their maturity level. It was stunning. This is just like everything I want in a romance book. This had. It was beautiful, and I would highly, highly, highly recommend everybody pick it up. I have been forcing this down everybody's throats that I talk to. I'm obsessed with it. And then the final book. This might be one of my favorite books from 2024. Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood. Holy crap, was this amazing. I absolutely ate this story up. I love Bryce, I love Hunt. I loved the way that it was action-packed right from the start. I was up pacing back and forth through the whole book, I swear. I cried, I was frustrated, I was happy, I was giggling. Oh my god. I absolutely love this book. I give it a 5 stars. I'm not going to go too much in depth with this book because I am scared of spoiling anything from Sarah J. Maas because she has such a crazy, crazy, crazy mind, and the worlds that she builds are insane. But this was just stunning. I absolutely loved it. I loved Bryson Hunt. So I'm going to be continuing this series as well this month. Oh my god, I love this book. If you want to pick up anything, and Wayward, but it's all the way at the bottom of the thing, so I'm not going to be freaking out. So I had such a great reading month, honestly. It was pretty incredible. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and close out this video before my camera dies. I wanted to say thank you guys so much for clicking on and watching all the way through. I hope that you guys had a really good reading month in July and found some new favorites. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Toodaloo!